Greetings, good afternoon, and welcome to the, infamous titled The Fucked Up Man. I'm your host, Coach Miles, and I'm here today with the legend, the one and only author of Burn the Bullshit, Mr. Stephen Doran. How are you, brother?
I'm really good. It's really good just to connect with you again, let alone to have the opportunity to connect with you on this level and get into a nice philosophical chat, which won't be a first time for us, Miles, and I'm sure it won't be the last. I'm looking forward to having a great chat, man.
Amazing. For the benefit of those people that don't know who you are, which is crazy because I know how amazing you are, tell the viewers a little bit about who you are so that they can get a picture.
Well, it's such a big question.
Who
you are, yeah? Because where do you really go with that? I mean, I suppose,
do you go down the CV route or the Socrates route?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And this is, to be honest, I hate the CV route, but it's sort of almost a need to do it to almost stake your credentials. Otherwise, people maybe wonder why they should listen to you. So I guess I'm a guy that's had a nice winding journey with plenty of ups and downs. I've learned a lot from those. I'd like to say I'm still learning a lot day in, day out. I'm a coach to a handful of high performers. I train coaches and have trained coaches for the last seven years, particularly in neuro-linguistic programming, which I train. And is there an ice cream truck there, Miles?
Thank you, ice cream man. I love that.
If you need to stop and grab a 99, mate, don't mind me. I'll just carry on. My credentials can go for 15.
Please, $2.99.
Where am I at?
That is what you call a pattern interrupt.
There is a pattern interrupt.
That is what you call a pattern. Yeah. I planned that. I thought,
good.
Let's see if I can throw Stephen off. Let's press the ice cream button and see if it throws him off. He's going to do it again in a minute. We're just going to let everybody know. Carry on, brother.
Good stuff. I've been very fortunate in recent years. I've been on a few television programs, one where I got to do the selection process with the special forces from different places in the world, one where I was an investor for where people came on and pitched their business and I decided whether or not to put money into it. So I've had a nice fruitful experience. I spent 7 years as a firefighter earlier on in my life. Don't do the maths because you might start to figure out how old I currently am. I know I hide it so well.
23.
Exactly, yeah. And now I have a digital marketing company where we help entrepreneurs reach more people online, and also got a property portfolio. Between those things, I stay relatively busy, but I've also like to feel I've got a nice balance of living daily, which is my ethos for life, is to sort of to live every moment to its fullest potential in whatever you may be doing in that moment. And that's pretty much me. I think my biggest achievement today is just being happy. I consider myself a happy person at core. It doesn't mean I'm always in a good mood, but in my heart, I feel like a very happy man.
Isn't that interesting? Your greatest achievement, and the whole purpose of this show is to break down barriers, to challenge the status quo of what people perceive success to be. That actually, you just mentioned live daily, and that's, all the time I've known Stephen, it's always been it's almost been his middle name to me. Like, it's almost been like it's something that he posts on social media, but it's almost like he really lives that. Like he really lives that. If you look at his social media, you'll see that he lives that, from crazy outlandish things to really, really simple things. The other day I saw him in the back garden. You and your girlfriend were like jumping in just the back garden. Just things like that I believe are real, that's real inner child stuff. It's stuff that kids live daily, right? I know being a
without a doubt,
Sage lives daily. And I think as adults, we maybe forget that. There's a video that I've been watching on YouTube every day for the past few months of a guy in New Zealand. His name was Navar. Beautiful man, engaged to a beautiful girl. He got a brain tumor. And in June last year, they sped up the wedding and they got married. Beautiful wedding, beautiful ceremony. They had a Maori wedding, and the guest did the haka and everything. And he passed away the next day. And for me, when I see pictures of them on Instagram, I follow them. It's always a reminder of the importance of living daily, because they were in their mid-20s. He was a really healthy guy, brain tumor. You know, it's like, so I think it's a really overused cliche to seize the day. And I think in this pandemic, you know, a lot of people are frustrated, kind of waiting till and all that, therefore missing a lot of magic moments at home. What does live daily really mean to you, Stephen? And how can a person that, if they're really honest with themselves and they're watching this, kind of thinking, can't wait till lockdown's over, can't wait till you know, they're pissed off because they can't go on holiday. They're missing a lot of magic moments right now, right? You know, so
there's a few things.
What is the recipe? How does a person live daily, and why is that so important to you?
There's a few things you've touched on there. One, interestingly, in terms of the derivation of live daily and that ethos and where it came from for me, interestingly, it was a friend of mine passed away when we were in our 20s, relatively suddenly from a brain tumor. And that was the initial root of that. So it was looking, reflecting and realizing that sometimes it takes these devastating traumatic moments to realize how fragile and not promised life is, and we've only really got what we've got right now. And part of what you said about, you know, can't wait till lockdown's over, that is the antithesis of living daily. Living daily is being totally present in the moment that you're in and enjoying it for everything that it is. And you touched on simplicity. A lot of the best things in life are so simple. So yeah, for me, living daily, it doesn't necessarily mean just not give it a fuck and you know, just spend all your money and have no real plan. It just means embracing everything, embracing happiness, embracing sadness, embracing people, embracing moments, you know, being fully present wherever you are in whatever you're doing, because I just firmly believe, one, you're not promised any amount of time. You or I could drop dead in the middle of this call. Yes. Might get us quite a few views, but other than that, it would be quite tragic. But you touched on seize the day, or kind of, you know, that being an overused cliche, but I think it's an underused methodology. Is, you know, it's so simple, and I think the best things in life, again, the most intelligent people in the world take the complex and make them simple, and it's such a simple principle to build your life on that concept. But how many people, you know, it's one thing getting it tattooed on you in Latin, but how many people actually fucking do it? How many people actually turn around and go, do you know, I'm going to have a fucking good day, or catch themselves and turn their day around, or you know, can kill an argument and go, look, life's too short for this. Let's call it, you know. And I find the more and more you can gain perspective on how, you know, how blessed we are to just have this borrowed time, the less and less you worry about trivial things, or you put your happiness on something in the future, you know. So for me, living daily is about presence, I guess, being totally present in the moment and giving it your everything, whatever that may be. It might be work, you know. It doesn't mean you don't work, but it means you pour yourself into your work and you own it, and it means something to you, and you let that flow through you, rather than everything's a chore and it's you know, you're trying to take your mind elsewhere. You know, maybe it's a case of just turning your phone off and throw it in the drawer for a day and being present with whoever you're with, and so forth. So yeah, I guess that live daily is it's a simple thing, but you can roll it out into any context and it works. You know, it works. It's worked for me for the last however long. But unfortunately, it does often take something like somebody close to you passing away to start to realize how important it is to embrace that time. And all I can say to anyone listening is don't wait for that traumatic moment if you haven't already had it, because it might not be your friend that passes away. It might be yourself, you know. So, you know, love fully and unconditionally, and just share everything that you have to give. Like live to the fullest potential that you have.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, one of the things we've learned in our house is we've made a theme for every night in since the lockdown happened back in March. Tonight is travel show night. So we go, okay, we can't travel, so we're gonna use our imagination, and we put on 4K walking tours on YouTube, and then pick a plethora of travel shows, cook food from a different country, put music on from a different country, and just literally Tuesday night, I woke up this morning, I went, yes. And Saturday went, what? I went, it's travel show night tonight. You know, tomorrow night is video game night. Saturday night, we have a disco ball and we dance in the kitchen. You know, it's, for me, that's living daily. It's like having something to be excited about today, not waiting until tomorrow. Burn the bullshit. title of your incredible book.
Yeah.
Firstly, look, it's an amazing title.
Yeah, I love it.
And obviously, you said to me before we started, you know, how am I for using swear words? And I went, well, just look at the title.
That is exactly what Living Daily is. That's amazing.
You know, to censor you on this platform and with a book title like that would be ludicrous. What does burn the bullshit mean to you, and how can a person how can they burn their own bullshit? Did we break up? Are you there? Oh, is our signal? Are we gone? Are we on? Still here? Maybe we're having some. Bear with us. I think we're having some.
Cool. Well, to answer the second question, the only way to burn one's bullshit is to buy my book from Amazon. Just kidding. Hello, mate. Can you hear me?
I can. I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Good. Yeah, we're still here. We're still on. Yeah,
someone's not tuned into Netflix in your house, have they?
No, I think we're good. I can still hear you.
We're good?
Hear you. Yeah. Carry on. You're talking about burn the bullshit.
Okay, amazing. Cool. So yeah, the first thing, the most important thing, if one wants to burn the bullshit, what one must do is head to Amazon and purchase my book for $9.99. It's a fantastic, life-changing read. And don't forget to leave a review if you like it. And if you don't like it, then please don't leave a review, because there's always one. Don't be that guy. If you don't like personal development books, don't read them. So burn the bullshit basically is the concept is about the bullshit beliefs that we have. Some people call them limiting beliefs, disempowering beliefs. I call them bullshit beliefs because 99.9% recurring of them are total bullshit. And when I look at beliefs in and of themselves, so the book really looks into beliefs, where they come from, what effect they have on us, how to change them. And when I look at beliefs, I look at, is it serving me? Is it useful? And if not, then what belief would be more empowering or useful to me? And so the book looks about how we can change them around, because I don't believe that any belief is right or wrong. You know, there's just things that empower you and make your life better, and there's things that disempower you and make your life more difficult. So the title really is about getting rid of those bullshit beliefs, and it culminates at the end in quite a big exercise. There's a lot of exercises sort of interspersed throughout the book, but it culminates in a big exercise where you physically write your bullshit beliefs down and then you set them on fire, which is a super powerful exercise to burn that representation of those beliefs, and then you reinstill the new empowering beliefs that you want to carry with you from that moment onward. And it really is, I know I wrote it, so I'm super biased, but it really is a really effective and powerful exercise to do. So you know, once you've got the knowledge, fine, but to be honest, even just that last exercise at the end, I do it in workshops and seminars. I've been doing it for years with people, and I've seen just unbelievable, incredible changes, which is one of the good parts of what I do, I guess. The bonuses of the job.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to give yourself credit for that, because to positively discredit you, the concept of challenging disempowering beliefs is a universal thing, and it can only benefit a person to question themselves, because a lot of people will grow up thinking that, you know, once you've got a set of beliefs, you should just keep them and kind of wear them like old clothes. But it's really funny how, you know, I've just kind of plugging myself. I'm working on an audio book called The Upgraded Man, and the purpose of that title is because we're constantly upgrading things out of ourselves, and that's very normal, but it isn't as normal to upgrade ourselves within. And challenging your beliefs, kind of burning your bullshit beliefs, is really about, if your mind is like a computer, right, it's about upgrading yourself so that you can potentially improve and completely transform your life. You know, it's
without a doubt, yeah. Without a doubt.
You know, the media in Britain's call rain, you know, often the label is miserable. It's miserable out there. But yet, if you go to Uganda, just stereotyping, but a particular country in the developing world that maybe doesn't have a high rainfall, that's the solution to their famine, right? They can feed their families for 6 months because of the rainfall that we may have. So it's all about looking at a belief and challenging it. So I love that, brother.
And that's what you're talking about in terms of changing perspective is amazing as well. There's a quote: if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change, right? And rainfall in one part of the country for some people is an inconvenience, whereas other places in the world it's a total blessing. And it's interesting to see how people respond to things as trivial as the rain, or when the weather was adverse at the weekend and you couldn't really drive too far, like you touched on. Cool, I just went and jumped in the stream. It's an opportunity to mess around and to get cold and to enjoy the weather while it is how it is. I really think that's important. There's a interesting way about things that I like, which is quite simple. If you don't like something, you've got two options. You can either change your perspective or you can change your process. So you can change the way you look at the thing, or you can change what you're doing. And I think if you look at any issue you've got, you can ask yourself that question straight away. It's like, okay, what do I want to do here? Change my perspective or change my process? And that was such again, I love simple things. Such a simple way of changing the way you look at something and finding a solution within that challenge. So yeah, hopefully that's beneficial to people.
Yeah, and so appropriate in this pandemic period, because it's why the series is called Pandemics of the Mind, because arguably a lot of people can't change their procedure as much as they would like right now, right? If they're not having a good week, they're not having a good week, they can book a holiday or go on holiday or go to Nando's or something. That's been stripped, and I think it's really good, because now people have to change their go more within, which actually means that when the world reopens, if they're good on the inside, it makes they're going to enjoy their process even more, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's an African proverb: if there's no enemy within, then the enemy outside can do you no harm.
Absolutely.
But interestingly, I mean, you speak again like in this pandemic, so you can't go on holiday. So you said you can't change the procedure, but you can. You've changed it, and the only reason I'm saying it because I think you've given a perfect example. Well, I'm doing a holiday on 4K TV, and that is a perfect example of changing the fucking process. It might not be obvious, and it might not be easy, and it might seem a bit fucking strange, but if you want to be happy at the expense of what anyone might think or say, then that's what you got to do. There was an interesting study I was reading the other day about people apparently get as much enjoyment from planning and booking the holiday as they do from actually going on it.
I've read that study. Yeah, I've read that study.
Yeah, I thought it was fascinating because last year I had 3 holidays cancelled, and we really did. One of them was a really sort of, we thought out the itinerary to really engrave it, and we really enjoyed it. And I got all the money back. I must admit, at the time, I thought, oh, this is all right. Although now, in hindsight, I do wish I'd been, because it's been a while for me.
Of course.
As you know, I often travel. Although, there's ways and means. Last year, 2020, I still managed to get to 11 countries, which was fortunate. So there's always a way. Is the other way of looking at things, I guess. You just got to maybe adapt again, change your processes. Maybe there's some countries you can't go to. Maybe there's some you can. Obviously, right now. Different again. Now is the time to be having YouTube holidays, which I quite like that idea. So I think I might borrow that, if you don't mind, and get back to you on how that goes.
Yeah, it's your imagination, especially if it's somewhere you've been before. We walked around Rome a couple of weeks ago and walked around Miami and places that we've been and seen. Oh, I know that coffee shop. We've been in there. So it's definitely your imagination.
That's cool. Yeah, it's really cool. I like that.
Something I want to talk to you about, which is I think a really important topic. I saw a post of yours. I was scrolling through relevant to the interview. You talk about using pain effectively. It's a really powerful post. And what does that mean? So what does that mean? Use pain effectively.
I'm not sure on the post, but I'm going to make an assumption because I speak about pain and pleasure motivators. I'm guessing it's somewhere to do with using pain as a motivator. For me, and this is where I guess I may differ from some of your stereotypical personal development practitioners, if that's a word. I personally leverage pain points to bring myself to take action in some places. There's a lot of usual practice of you set a goal, you think about all the great stuff to do with that goal, you head towards that goal, and that's fine. But for me, when it's 5 o'clock in the morning, it's cold, I'm fucking tired. sometimes going, oh, one day I want to do whatever, doesn't really necessarily get them out of bed, but thinking, don't do this and people you love will fucking suffer. That does. So there's a lot of studies that people respond and are more motivated by pain than they are by pleasure. So a lot of time I will leverage the pain, or the idea of at least pain, to motivate myself to do things. I use it as a tool. I use it just purely as a tool, a theoretical tool. I say, okay, if I don't do this, then this, or if this, then that. And I sort of play out the the scenario. Okay, well, if I give up here, then where else am I going to give up? Okay, if I can't, if I don't want to do this extra bit of work, what effect will that have compounded over the next 10 years on my children? All of these sort of things. They're quite heavy frames, I'll be honest, and it's quite deep for a lot of people, but for me, it fucking works because it makes me train harder, work harder, forgive quicker, and whatever else I need to do, because I start just thinking, well, what's the long-term price that I'm going to pay for this behavior? And I find that, for me, again, just more effective than always just thinking, oh, what's the good that can come of this? It's like, well, if you don't do this, then what's going to happen? And I find that super duper effective. Again, it's probably like the opposite of 90% of personal development literature, which is like focus on the positive. But for me, I'm just the results. If it works, that's what I'll do.
Well, I think I talked about this in a coaching class for my clients the last week about be aware of the connotations of language that have been passed down, and you don't actually know why you agree with them. So, for example, the word negative. If we talk about the word negative to a scientist, they'll talk about energetic charges and the importance of polarity to make energy work. Like most of the things that we have, car, you with your electric car, most of the things that we have require positive and negative polarity to work. Like you need pain and pleasure to be motivated. So I think the word negative, gets a bad rap. I'm all for bringing back, negative is the new positive. Maybe you and I will hashtag that for 2021.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's the same as, you can go into some circles in personal development and it's like, oh, if anybody disagrees with what you're saying, chop them out of your life. And I'm like, well, actually, you need loving people with, supportive criticism sometimes to help you see what you can't always see yourself. I just think you have to choose the people you listen to very carefully. Yeah. And that I do believe, but for me, it's not a case of just anyone who doesn't agree with you, just like, no, they're negative, I'm just cutting them out of my life. I mean, well, that's not really the way, because you get yourself into this echo chamber of, yeah, you can do this, yeah, you can do this, yeah, you can fly off that fucking building, jump, where does it end? And this is where I'm all for being positive. This is where positive thinking can sometimes be a dangerous, I really believe can be a dangerous slippery slope, because we take out the practicality. I do believe in, being optimistic and seeing the best that something can be and trying to make it that way in a very pragmatic way. But I don't necessarily believe in being completely unrealistic. But that's just me. And a lot of people don't necessarily buy into me for that, because I'm not one to just, sit, think it and expect it. I'm a bit more, okay, see what you want, figure out how you're going to get it and go and get it. And look, it's just, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just, again, what works for me. I read something the other day, which I thought was quite, summed it up quite easily, pun not intended, but it said like 6 + 3 = 9, 5 + 4 = 9. It both adds up to the same thing. It's just a different way about getting the same result. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. It's whatever works for you. And I think in personal development, it's very much like that. Some things will resonate and work for some people, and some things will resonate and work for others. So I'm definitely not rubbish in that side of things, but I don't want to pump myself up to a point where I've got an unrealistic expectation, because I think later on in life that can have quite a profound effect on me psychologically if I don't get what I expected to get. So it's just about, managing your own expectations and understanding the work that you need to do to get things, and appreciating what's in your control and what's not, and enjoying the fucking journey regardless.
Yeah, I agree. Speaking of enjoying the journey, I read a post of yours today which talked about taking life snapshots. It's something that me and Mrs. Grant regularly do. You know, we'll be on a walk in the morning, and we'll stop, and obviously we're with Sage, but we'll stop at the diggers longer than most people would. You know, watch a robin in the tree and put words in its mouth like we're characters in a Disney movie. You know, it's, for me, that's the real magic moments in the day, is little things like that.
Yeah.
What does taking life snapshots mean to you?
You know, I don't know how many years you've read back on my, because I can't remember saying. I was going to say I can't remember saying half of these things specifically. Yeah. However, for me, it is literally stopping and not taking a with a phone snapshot. It's just capturing a moment. I think moments are all that we have, and you just have. I mean, it's I get it. It's super cliche, but they are. And sometimes you can lose that moment by trying to catch that moment, ironically. So I think you just have to be super present, stop, appreciate, and just really enjoy your surround. I mean, the simplest. I go walking every day with a friend of mine. He's an extremely wealthy man, you know, 9-figure wealthy man. And he said to me the other day, he's like, we've been walking together every morning for the last 6 years. And he said, the best moment of my day is this walk. You know, we pay £1.50 for a coffee. We walk through, you know, different woodlands or wherever we're walking on that particular day. And we talk and we connect. And it's just those simple moments in life, because it's early, you know, there's not all the noise and distraction of phones and people and business and whatever else, and it's just those simple moments. It's sitting with my girlfriend sometimes when no one's around, and just being. You don't always have to even be talking, and just being in one another's company, and just sometimes I sit. I'm a cliche guy, don't get me wrong, but sometimes I really do sit there and I just think, okay, cool, with this moment here, this is what it's all about. And it might be the stupidest, fucking simplest, most trivial moment to one person, like you're sitting on the sofa, the TV's not even on, you know, and you're just there, and I'm like, this is what life is all about, you know. But I guess it's a feeling, and it's just capturing moments in your mind and being there for it, in your mind, in the camera roll of your mind.
Yeah, I think I love that. I think anyone who's listening to that and it's maybe gone over your head, I recommend a book. And if it hasn't gone over your head and it's resonated with you, Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now, for me, surname Tolle, is an incredible book, because it really is about what Stephen's talking about, which is how do you enjoy this moment, or how do you enjoy the planning the itinerary as much as the actual trip. And you know, I believe it's a learned behavior. It's not something you can just all of a sudden do. But I do think that if you become aware that maybe you're moving from moment to moment, jumping like lily pad to lily pad, if you just kind of in this moment, if you just after this, whenever you're watching this video today, if you just even now just watching it, just kind of ignore us for a minute and just kind of look around and observe in a way that's a bit slower than you normally would, that's the start of what I believe Stephen's talking about, which is capturing live snapshot.
Yeah, it's exactly what I'm talking about.
Last thing I want to talk about, another post, which you may not remember. You said in a post which I saw, never forget that your next breath is someone's last breath. I thought it was a beautiful statement. It reminded me of the video I talked about at the beginning, the guy in New Zealand, Navarre, who had a brain tumor. I know you've had a friend that's passed on too as a result of that. What does that mean to you, and how does a person remember that when they're having a shit day, when they're not in the best mood?
Yeah.
How does a person remember that, you know, their next breath, someone somewhere, especially highlighted even more this year, but not any more people dying than 2019. But 2020 was a year where the media highlighted deaths probably more than maybe World War times. How does a person do that? How do they live more in that mode of remember your next breath could be someone's last?
Interestingly, I think it starts with their breath. So I think a lot of presence starts with your breathing. And if you're trying to get present in a moment, the simplest advice I can give you is just take a breath, focus on your breath. And that in itself, I mean, I do remember that post. That was quite a recent one. And because it's something that somebody, I can't remember where I read that one. And that just moved me. Somebody said it, or I read it somewhere, and it really moved me because I thought it's so fucking true. Like literally, as we've been talking here, how many people around the world have died just in this space of time. It is and it I mean, that one's all about perspective. Going back on the sort of perspective side of things, it's a complete reframe. It doesn't really matter what the fuck's going on in your life, all of these made up scenarios with sort of some attributed importance that you've ascribed to them over the years of deciding what you think is important in life. It's just realizing what you have and that you're here. And for me, the greatest success is just waking up every day, literally waking up every day, because it's not going to happen forever. And we get into this pattern where we just assume a lot of assumption. We're just going to go on forever. We're going to live into our 80s, and then we're going to pass away peacefully in the night. And it's just not how life is. If you haven't figured that out over the last couple of years, then I don't know how much I can help you. But I think the simplest way of really just focusing in and appreciating life is focusing on your breathing, and then remember how lucky you are to have your breathing. I mean, there's some meditations and mental exercises that I do that revolve around, closing your eyes, putting your hand over your chest and just feeling your heart and just thinking about, I mean, anyone who's listening can try it now. And you close your eyes, you put your hand on your chest and you just feel your heart beating in your chest, and just think about the fact that for your whole life, that heart has been beating continuously, keeping you alive. And you give, it's a lovely practice. Just give thanks and gratitude to your heart for keeping you alive. And when you start to gain that sort of appreciation for your life, all of this other insignificant bollocks just fades into the background and becomes the nothing that it is. I guess it's all founded on principles of gratitude, which, I mean, as we know, are super powerful emotions. But for me, again, that post was really about, being grateful for the fact that we're alive, being grateful for the fact that we're here, appreciating what we have in this moment and what others don't necessarily have anymore. So we're very fortunate to have this, and we won't have it forever. So it would be criminal to waste it. There's no refunds, as I keep saying, but there's no refunds on time. Spend it wisely.
Absolutely. Stephen, we are very fortunate to have had you on the show, brother. Thank you for being here. Any final words of wisdom? And then I'd love to know how people can connect with you moving forward if they want to reach out and connect.
Cool. Yeah, sure. Final words of wisdom: live daily. Nice and simple. Don't complicate it. Don't forget to breathe. Don't take your time. There's no rush. And do what you fucking want to do. Don't let other people guide you, tell you, whatever else. You do what you want to do. Live the life that you want to live. Do whatever that means, as long as it doesn't hurt anyone else. In terms of connecting, Instagram is probably the easiest way. So it's @Steve_Doran. If you're interested in coaching, then drop me a line. If you're interested in digital marketing, then drop me a line. We manage social media accounts, we build websites, we do all of that good stuff. And if you're interested in just shooting the breeze and philosophizing, by all means, shoot me a line. Miles, I'm really grateful for your time. Thank you, mate. As we said, it's been too long, and it's a pleasure to connect, and I hope it's not this long ever again. And thanks for everything that you do in sharing your, these messages with people. I think it's a great thing that you're doing here.
Yeah, great. Love you, brother. Namaste. Great to have you here. Thanks, buddy.